Welcome to Second Crowing Lake. This 13-minute video will introduce you to proper use of the pontoon, but first you need the key. You'll find the key hanging on a hook near the kitchen counter. The single key is attached to a floating keychain. Crank the wheel clockwise to lower the lift and counterclockwise to raise it. You will know that the pontoon is fully lowered when it floats and moves back and forth. Simply walk the pontoon out by pulling on the overhead canopy support bars. You will follow a similar process to walk the pontoon into the lift when you return. Before starting the engine, trim the motor all the way down. The motor should always be trimmed down, except when the pontoon is on the lift or when you navigate the shallow river to Third Crowing Lake, when the engine should be trimmed up slightly. The red knob on the throttle should be depressed when switching gears. There are only 3 settings: forward, neutral, and reverse. The throttle also adjusts speed. Depending upon the number of persons in the boat, you should reach maximum speeds of 12 to 18 miles per hour. Remember, always have the engine trimmed all the way down when underway. The area in front of the dock is weedy, and you may find weeds wrapped around the propeller. The easy way to get rid of the weeds is to reverse the propeller by putting the throttle into reverse and revving the engine for a second or two. The spring-loaded bimini top is easy to raise. Remove the green cords wrapped around the fabric. Detach the fasteners on either side. Push or pull the bimini forward and into place. Detach the straps on either side and reattach to the eyelets on the rail. These straps provide stability in the wind. You may raise the bimini at any time, but it should always be lowered when returning to the boat lift or when traveling back and forth to Third Crowing Lake, because you will be under a bridge. Returning the bimini to a stowed position is a little more complicated. As you can see on this video, one person can do it, but it is better handled by 2 persons. The difficult piece is tucking the fabric between 2 bars up and over the rear bar. As you can see, I didn't get it quite right the first time. When done properly, sidebars tuck into a gray plastic U-shaped holder. Because the bimini is spring-loaded, the best leverage is accomplished by pulling from the rear. The blue floatable mat satisfies legal requirements and should always remain on board. There are 8 adult-size life jackets stowed beneath the seats. Children's life jackets are in the shed. The Humminbird Depth Finder is a handy tool. The lake map has red, green, and blue-gray displays. Stay out of the red except when returning to the dock or traveling to Third Crow Wing Lake. Use the map to find the mid-lake hump that is a great panfish fishing spot. Click on the View button to scroll through several screen options. Depth, water temperature, and speed are all displayed. You will see red lines tracking your path. You can remove these lines by clearing the current track under the menu options. Be sure to turn off the unit when finished, or you may drain the battery. There are front and rear live wells. Screw the white post to close the drain. Turn on the aerator at the dashboard. In the upper right corner of the live well is a valve. Open the valve and the water will splash in. The anchor is located in a forward compartment. It is already attached to the front of the pontoon. Connect your smartphone to the Bluetooth sound device and enjoy your favorite tunes. The 3 gates are opened and closed by lifting straight up. Although the pontoon is not designed for high-performance water sports, it is possible to pull a tube at slow to moderate speeds. Hooking the tow apparatus to the pontoon is a bit tricky and best accomplished by standing in the water at the rear of the pontoon. The snaps on the towing harness clip to eyelets at the rear of the pontoon on either side at the water line. The snaps hook into the eyelets but do not close all the way. Now the pontoon is underway with the harness in place. Use caution to keep the harness away from the propeller. The floating ball serves the purpose of keeping the tow rope to the tube out of the water. When returning to the dock, approach the lift at slow speeds, just enough to coast the front of the pontoon next to the edge of the lift, where the walk-in process begins. In calm water, as on this video, the pontoon may simply glide onto the lift, but in windier weather, persons at the front may need to muscle the pontoon into place. The engine should be placed in neutral for the last 20 to 30 feet as you coast to the lift. Here's another view of the pontoon approaching and entering the lift. Remember to disengage the engine by placing the throttle in neutral for the last 20 to 30 feet as you slowly coast into place. How high should the lift be raised? Enough that this bar is slightly out of the water. How far should the pontoon go into the lift? Line up these flanges on the pontoon with the end of the lift beams. The motor and flanges should be centered between the beams. This will take 2 persons. One to steady the boat in place, while a second person begins to crank up the boat and stabilize the pontoon. With the pontoon on the lift, note the lift bars just above the waterline, the motor trimmed up and out of the water, the ladder at the right side, and the depth finder transducer on the left. Enjoy!